Let me show you how to make seafood okra soup with fresh fish without using oil. This oilless okra soup recipe is light, loaded, and made with simple, affordable ingredients. If you want to see how I made this from start to finish, watch till the end. Hi my people, my name is Mo, welcome back. For this seafood okra recipe, I will be using fresh catfish. You can use any fresh fish of choice, but I highly recommend catfish or croaker fish for this recipe because they taste really good in okra soup. The first thing we need to do is to properly wash the catfish and remove the slime. I started by adding salt and water to the fish to rinse out first. After that, we can now deal with the slime. To remove the slime from catfish, the water temperature matters a lot. You do not want to use boiling water because that can start cooking the fish immediately. And you also do not want warm water because it will not remove the slime properly. The water should just be slightly hotter than being warm. So I pour some of the not so hot water over the catfish and use a spoon to make sure the water touched every part of the fish. At this point, you will already notice the slime starting to come out. Then I pour the water away and gently scrape the fish with a knife to remove the remaining slime. You can see everything coming out easily here. After that, I rinsed the catfish about 3 times and now it is properly cleaned and ready for this oilless okra soup recipe. To keep the fish full of flavor and avoid that bland taste, we are going to marinate it. This step is totally optional, especially if you are in a hurry, but I highly recommend it because it really transforms the taste of the seafood okra soup and gives the fish more depth. I gently arrange the cleaned catfish into a clean bowl after draining it properly. At this point, you want to make sure there is no excess water sitting on the fish so the seasoning can stick well. Then I go in with Uziza powder, pepper soup spice, salt, and seasoning cube. I try to distribute everything evenly, making sure each piece gets enough seasoning. I flip the fish over and repeat the same process on the other side so nothing is left unseasoned or plain. After that, I use my hand to gently massage the spices into the fish. This part is important because you are not just sprinkling seasoning on top, you are working it into the fish so it absorbs properly. Once I was satisfied that everything is well coated, I cover the bowl, then place it in the freezer to marinate. You can leave it for at least 3 hours if you are short on time, but honestly, overnight gives the best results because the spices have time to really sink in. Just make sure it stays in the freezer so it remains fresh and does not spoil while it is marinating. For the pepper base, I use a mix of peppers for heat and color in this seafood okra soup. I start with yellow scotch bonnet pepper and I grate it first so I can control exactly how much it goes into the soup. I want to be able to use all of it without overpowering the dish with pepper. Then I also use red scotch bonnet pepper, also known as Atarodo, and Shombo. Shombo is very important in this oilless okra soup recipe because we are not using palm oil at all, so we need it for that rich, vibrant color. So I grate the Atarodo and Shombo as well because that slightly rough texture helps the color stand out. After that, I gently arrange the marinated catfish into a clean pot. Then I added Uziza powder, pepper soup spice, yellow pepper, and red pepper. I also added seasoning cubes, salt, and just enough water to allow everything cook properly. Then I gently stir everything so the seasoning is well distributed, making sure I don't break the fish. Then I cover it and let it cook for about 7 minutes. If you're enjoying this recipe so far, take a second to like this video. It will help more people to find my seafood okra soup recipe and also support the channel. Thank you so much. While the fish is boiling, let's prepare our okra. I like to cut mine in 2 different ways to get the perfect texture. The first method is cutting it into fine pieces, just as I'm doing here on the screen. You can also use a grater for this. You can check my first okra soup video to see exactly how to achieve that look. The second way is to slice the okra into larger chunky sizes. I personally love combining both methods to get the perfect mouthfeel. It is how I truly enjoy my seafood okra. I really don't know how some people genuinely enjoy their okra soup completely smooth. How do you like your okra cuts? Let me know in the comments. If you are team chunky or team smooth. I love hearing how you make your meals. Your comments always make my day. It's time to check on our fresh fish. It has been cooking for about 7 minutes now, and I'm going to flip each side over so that the other side can cook for another 7 minutes as well. You have to do this very carefully and gently so that the fish doesn't scatter or break apart. Maintaining the shape of the fish is very important because we do not want to cheat anybody in this house. While the fish is cooking, I added some water into a clean pot to boil. This is to pre-cook our okra. 7 minutes later, and our fresh fish is perfectly cooked. We are going to gently remove the catfish from the pot and set it aside so it doesn't break while we finish the soup. Then I added the rest of our ingredients into the stock: the smoked catfish, stockfish, iru, periwinkle, and dried shrimps. I also added more yellow and red pepper, crayfish, Uziza powder, and pepper soup spice. After adjusting the seasoning and salt, I added enough water, give it a stir, and let it cook for another 7 minutes. At this point, feel free to add any seafood of your choice. I used dried shrimps because I prefer them over fresh ones, and I want to show you that you can make a rich, delicious seafood okra soup while staying on a budget. You don't need expensive extras to get that authentic flavor in an oilless okra soup. You will notice I was quite generous with my pepper, and that is because I love the heat, especially when cooking with fresh fish. Seafood can sometimes have that slightly nauseating aftertaste if not well seasoned, so the pepper really helps to balance everything out. Of course, feel free to adjust the quantity to suit your own taste. Let's pre-cook our okra. In the boiled water, I added a pinch of baking soda. This is totally optional, but it helps keep the color vibrant. Then I go in with the thinly pieces first, followed by the chunky ones. I gave it a quick stir and let it cook for just 1 minute 30 seconds. Remember, we are just pre-cooking. For my vegetable of choice, I'm using ugu leaves. I've already cleaned it thoroughly and gave it a rough chop on my board. Keeping it a bit chunky adds a great texture to the seafood okra soup. Let's check on our okra soup. You can see I didn't add a lot of water to it, just enough to bind everything together. Now that it is perfectly pre-cooked, I pour the okra directly into our boiling soup base. I gave it a thorough stir to incorporate all those flavors, and then I added my chopped ugu leaves. While you can definitely use any vegetable of your choice for this soup, like Uziza or bitter leaf. My reason for choosing ugu today is for that specific vibrant color and the texture it brings to this pot. Plus, since I've already used plenty of Uziza powder throughout the process, I didn't want to use fresh Uziza leaves again so that the flavor will not overpower the soup. And also, Uziza leaves take much longer to cook. We want to keep this process fast because okra soup should never be overcooked. Now it is time to bring back the star of the show. I am adding the fresh fish, the catfish we set aside earlier. Please do this very gently so the fresh fish stays intact. So after that, I carefully stir the fish into the soup. Reduce the heat to low at this point and let it all simmer together for just about a minute or two to harmonize. Please be careful at this stage. If you turn it anyhow, if you stir it anyhow, the fish is going to scatter and you may not like it. As a reminder, the reason I added the Uziza powder and pepper soup spice in small bits at every stage, from the marinating to the boiling, is to build a deep layered flavor. Adding it little by little ensures it is not overpowering. If you prefer, you can just add yours at any stage you like. 1 minute later and our seafood okra soup is officially ready. It is rich, colorful, and packed with nutrients. You can enjoy this beauty with fufu, semovita, eba, amala, or even guinea corn swallow. If you are looking for the perfect swallow to pair this with, be sure to check my channel for those recipes. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next recipe. Thank you so much for watching, my people. I will see you in the next one.